Quizzes Game of Facts. Today we have a very special edition Game of Facts. We have a very special host with us who will be your quiz master for today. And IndiaSpend School of Data Journalism has launched its new course, which is Mapping Migration Using Data to Tell Migration Stories. And we have the faculty himself of the course, Varun Aggarwal, who will guide you through this quiz today, who will be your quiz master today, who will give you very interesting insights on different migration facts. And Varun is the lead and founder of India Migration Now. Hi, Varun. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Meenal. Good evening, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Let me start my video too. Yeah, hello, everyone. Good evening.
Yes, over to you, Varun. Let's hear a little about India Migration Now, about the course, and about you before we begin the quiz.
Sure. Thanks, Meenal. Right. So again, welcome, friends, and thank you all for being here. And thank you to the IndiaSpend team for having me. And apparently, I'm one of the first male hosts for this quiz, and I'm honored given the past hosts, and I feel very honored and lucky for this opportunity. So just a quick word on who I am and my organization and our sort of collaboration here with IndiaSpend. I'm the founder and lead at India Migration Now. India Migration Now is a non-profit organization focused on all things migration. By migration, we mean migration within India, into India, and from India. And you will see these themes emerge throughout the quiz. Our mission really is to mainstream migration, the idea, like what is migration, the importance of it across different institutions and different spaces in India. And this sort of collaboration we have at IndiaSpend today with the India School of Data Journalism's course on mapping migration is an initiative to achieve that, which is to mainstream migration amongst journalists and students and anybody really interested in learning in general. Should recognize what is migration all about, what is migration, what do you mean by migration data, how do you utilize data, what are different important concepts and frameworks to make sense of it. And we try to, the ISDJ team, the IndiaSpend team, and even the India Migration Now, the IMN team, one of the talents we have is to really present data in an interesting way, in an engaging way, so that you learn and hopefully you can grasp the lives of the 500 million of people around you who are migrants, and we are the world's largest sending country for migrants. And I can go on, I might even reveal some answers, so I'll be quiet on that front. But I highly encourage you to check out the course, Mapping Migration. It was real labor of love, and I think there's a lot of our approaches at IMN, my own thinking on migration have sort of been condensed into that course. So I encourage you to check it out. A link will be shared on that front. One of the great things about today's quiz, which covers these themes of the course and our work, is that if you finish the top three, you get this great book by someone I know really well, Dr. Chinmay Tunbe at IIM Ahmedabad. It was called the idea of that book is to really sort of map India Moving, and the idea of that book is to really map the history of migration in the context of India. It's a riveting read, very accessible. It's got a lot of factoids from the early stages of India to today. It really gives you a sense of what migration means to India and our attachment to it. And it leaves you with a very nice sense of why migration matters today, right? And so so it's a great book. I've read it. I really enjoyed it. It really helped me sort of get some historical context in our own work. And that would be the book you win. So that's great. So I'm going to share my screen without further ado. And I see a lot of questions around pins, so they can see the pin hopefully very soon. Okay, right. Now, can everyone's, Meenal, can you just confirm the screen's visible?
Yes, Varun.
Great. The pin is right there, 5146643. The pin is very important. So those are good inquiries coming in the chat box. And in general, the chat box is perfect for asking for help. I see a lot of members joining in. Meenal, can you just give me the cue when I can start the quiz? How long we should wait?
We have a few questions, which are the poll questions. So I think you can start now. By the time the poll questions are going on, people can just join in. Just so everybody knows, the poll questions don't have any marks, any points. They're just to sort of know you, and you get to know Kahoot. So you can just start with the questions, Varun.
Great, absolutely. The poll questions is a good icebreaker, gives you in the mood of what the themes you're working with. So here we go. Yes, week 34, mapping migration. Those, yes. All right, the first poll question. And second. And so multi-select. So you'll have 4 names in front of you. You have to spot the migrant amongst these very famous people. Who is a migrant in these 4? Really curious what the answers are. Shah Rukh Khan, Virat Kohli, Sundar Pichai, Deepika Padukone, people of excellence in their fields. Who of them is actually a migrant? Who's not a migrant? We're almost at the end. And, oh, okay, we get a lot of people saying, people recognize Sundar Pichai as a migrant. But here's the thing, all 4 of them are migrants. All of them are migrants. Shah Rukh Khan's from Delhi. He's actually, I'm from Delhi, so he's from very close by where I grew up. Virat Kohli is from also not Delhi, where I'm from. Now he's in Bombay. Sundar Pichai, of course, I think a lot of people recognize. He's from Andhra, Hyderabad. Now he's in obviously San Francisco, Silicon Valley. And Deepika Padukone from Bangalore, from Karnataka, and now obviously in Bombay. So they were all migrants. But definitely Sundar Pichai, an international migrant, and recognized for that being that. Okay, more multi-select options. According to you, what does home symbolize? So this is a very personal question, so I'm really curious what everybody has to say. Is it the place where you're from objectively, where your family is, where you are, place where you are, and then the place where you feel the most accepted and loved, right? That could be family, that could be somewhere else. What is home to you? Very important concept actually in migration. Wow, the place where that's very interesting. The place where I feel accepted and loved. So it's this very abstract concept, and this is huge implications actually on who is a migrant. We try and define it with specific terms, and we try and say, well, you're from there and you're there, you're a migrant. But really, I mean, what is home? And so it is an abstract concept, and it's great to be reflected. But a lot of people, family, and maybe family correlates with where you're accepted. So this is very interesting. Thank you for your answers. Okay, we move on to the poll, another multi-select question, multiple options. Are you a migrant? That is, you're not native to the place. So are you a first generation migrant? Are you like a migrant, like you were born somewhere else, grew up somewhere else, now you're here? Are you native? You're where you were born and lived all your life, no history of migration in your family. Your early generations moved, but now you're living where you're living. So you have family migration. And then finally, you'll be a migrant in the near future. You're planning to be a migrant, prospective migrant, we call it. Wow. So a lot of folks with family migration, which is very typical. We have a lot of prospective migrants, very interesting. I wonder if many of you are trying to study abroad or move or have plans. And this is actually very common. A lot of people who have family of migrants or plan to be a migrant. You're a first generation, few of them. Okay. And then a native. Very interesting. We have natives there too. Or at least, so thank you. This is very, very, especially when it's related to the previous question about home, and so this is very, very interesting. Hopefully it puts you in a space to think about migration as a concept. Okay, last one. Now this is a word cloud. You have to give an answer. What is home for you? Like what city? Please type your answer. Type in your answer. Type in your answer. We'll create a cloud out of this. Very curious. What is home for you? Okay, let's see the word cloud. It's generating, it's generating. We're still getting answers. Keep in mind the answer you gave previously about your home, but being a migrant or non-migrant. What is home for you? Where is home? I should say, where is home for you? Okay, 3 seconds left. We got, I think, all the answers. I get the feeling. Let's see. And the word cloud. Wow, this is real mix. Where my family is. So a lot of people confirming the third question. India, the country is your home. Love that. Love that. You know, sort of inter-India migrants at home. Delhi, getting a lot of states here, Telangana, Kerala, Salem, very, very specific. Bombay, I'm in Bombay right now, so it's fantastic to see people from there. Family, independent place. I want to really go through many of them. This is really interesting. I see a lot of parents, happiness. Again, we saw that in the second question. Place of peace, very common. Yes, a lot of migrants choose to be where they consider home, where they feel at peace. Khushbu Chaturvedi, curious what that is. Ranchi, yeah, welcome for those who are from Ranchi or who consider home as Ranchi. Any place with books, I love that. Love that. Yes, I can call that home too. Where I'm welcomed, where, yeah, connects with the answers we got in second. Bangalore is there. Shout out to Bangalore people. Amethi, shout out to Amethi people, great town. Calcutta, Maharashtra in general. So that's what we call an intrastate migrants. I wonder if that's what's going on here. Gurgaon. So Canfield connection, freedom. These are, these are great answers because, we asked this question commonly. This is a very common survey question and we get these kinds of answers. So this is great. This is great. Thank you for sharing. Meenal, we're done with the poll. Let me know when I can start the quiz officially.
You can go ahead with the quiz, Varun.
Okay, great. So everyone, let's warm up. Thank you for this poll. I hope you feel warmed up. So let's warm up a bit more and I'm going to press next and we'll start the quiz. So there we go. But before I spend James Baldwin quote, just to sort of abstract and kind of summarize what I think, perhaps home is not a place, but simply an irrevocable condition. And I think looking at the most common answer in question 2, that seems to be what, James Baldwin, he's a smart chappy back in the day. I think he was in point. Absolutely. It is a condition, an irrevocable condition. Okay. So actually now I officially start the quiz and just move a couple of screens and 3, 2, 1, the quiz. All right, first question, which is the largest group of migrants in India? Is it intrastate migrants within a state? Is it interstate, across states, international people leave India, go abroad, or semi-permanent? They kind of move for a long time, but they kind of like to go back now and then. So intrastate, interstate, international migrants, semi-permanent migrants, you got 9 seconds left, 8. Semi-permanent, again, are people who go to a location, live there a long time, but never really settled there. They always have their one foot back home. We have intrastate, it was the right answer. Most common form of migrants are within states. So they will be from one part of Maharashtra to another, from one part of UP to another. That really is what dominates in India. Hundreds of millions of people move within the state rather than between states or internationally, even though we're the world's largest country percentage. We'll get to that for international migrants. But here we go. So 35, a lot of people chose interstate migrants. Yes, that's a very prominent image we have, but it's actually intrastate. So let's see what the score is. And the fastest fingers first, as we say, using some KBC terminology. Maisha, a 940, is winning the taking early lead. Swati is number 2. Darshan, Sandria, Rohit, everyone has a chance. A lot of questions, a lot of doozies in there. Okay, next question. The largest number of immigrants in India come from this neighboring country. Let's see, we got Pakistan on the west, northwest, we got Bangladesh in the east, and Nepal in the northeast, and Sri Lanka in the south. What's the answer? What's the answer? Really curious. Where do most number of immigrants in India come from our neighboring areas? South Asia. Where in South Asia does India receive? most of its immigrants from? Very curious to see what people have to say. We got the answers. Bangladesh. Yes, that was the answer. That's what most people have picked. That is indeed correct. Bangladesh, which shares a border, a very sort of contiguous open border into Bengal. It's a migration flow which has actually been decreasing over the years. In general, number of immigrants coming to India officially has gone down, despite popular narratives. But the data, including the census on both sides, the Bangladesh census, the Nepal census, the India census, all suggest that India as a host country has been falling down. But Bangladesh, India is a very interesting border. Of course, a lot of discussions on that border in the last couple of years, a lot of political debates. But it's a very sort of fluid border. The parts of Bangladesh who fall into India and parts of India who fall into Bangladesh. When floods happen, who is where? It's tricky to establish. But yes, indeed, Bangladesh is the biggest sending country. In general, number of immigrants in India, like I said, has been falling since the 70s, based on multiple surveys, including the census on all sides. So well done for those who got this right. Let's see who they are. Swati has now taken the lead. Well done, Swati, Rohit, Srini, Dhruhi, Vishnu, all catching up. Again, a lot can change. Lots of tricky questions ahead. Well done for those who got it right, which is a lot of people. All right, next question. It's double the points. So Nepalese migrants in India are largely, so migrants from are male, females, almost equal proportion of men and women, or unknown. What's the answer? What's the answer? Is it male migrants? Is it female migrants? Is it about the same? Or we don't know. The data is bad. That happens in migration. Data can be bad. We don't know. Very curious. Open border, India by Nepal. We have an open border. We have an agreement, a friendship treaty. Anybody can go. Anybody can cross border. Who's crossing the most? Men, women, about the same. We don't know. All right. We have got female is the answer. Yes, female migration from Nepal is quite common, especially in the long term. A lot of people chose male, which makes sense. But male migration from Nepal tends to be a bit more short term. They tend to work. A lot of people from the mountainous Himalayan regions of Nepal come to the Himalayan regions of India and kind of do seasonal migration. That's when men really come. But a lot of long-term domestic workers and workers in service industry increasingly are women, and they go all over India. You will find Nepalese workers in Bombay, in Madras, in Hyderabad, in Calcutta, all over the place. And here's a fun fact: a lot of Indians go to Nepal too. The best plumbers in Kathmandu, I've been told, are Odia. So let's see now who's right about this. Now Swati is really killing it here, but Dhruhi, Vibhuti's caught up, Mayur, Kartikeya. We're seeing some shift, but Swati right now taking a very established lead with double the point, but still a lot of points ahead, a lot of opportunities still. All right, ready for the next question. 3, 2, 1. Next question. This region receives the greatest number of Indian immigrants. This is which country? Is it which area, I should say? Is it Latin America, the Caribbean? Do Indians go there? The highest number of Indians. Central and Southern Asia, within sort of South Asia, and Europe and North America, or North Africa and Western Asia, which is the Middle East and the Arab world, or is it the Western North American world, or is it within South Asia and Central Asia, or is it really far away in Caribbean? Lots of Indians there too. So let's see what everybody says there. All right, the right answer was, of course, Northern Africa and Western Asia, the Middle East, the Gulf, which has been where majority of the immigrants from India sort of settle. This is from all over India now. Used to be from the south. Now people from the north, from the west, all over India. People are going to Dubai, to Latin, to Saudi Arabia. These economies in the Middle East, they have 70-80% sometimes foreign workers. In Dubai, we can probably call some of the cities in the Arab world, in the Middle East, Indian cities, South Asian cities in general. So that's Western Asia. A lot of people picked Europe and Northern America, which is interesting, which tells you something about the image. The Sundar Pichais of the world are the most prominent immigrants in our minds, and not the Northern Africa, the Gulf workers which actually dominate the numbers. So very interesting. Some people pick Latin American, Caribbean. Of course, the Caribbean, a very historic relationship with India. Shivanarayan Chandrapal, very famous cricketer with Indian origin, once upon a time. And some people picked Central South Asia, which is not a worst answer. We have a lot of Indians, like I said, going to Nepal, but it's all about that Gulf region. That's why number 4, the square, was the best option. Let's see who got this right. And very few people actually got this right. The leaderboard hasn't changed much. Interesting. So this was a tough one. The Gulf switched you up, but keep that in mind. The next question, which is double the points, time to double the points. This country receives the largest number of Indian immigrants. Keep in mind the previous answer. UAE, USA, Saudi Arabia, UK. What's the answer? The hint was in the previous question. UAE, USA, the Saudi Arabs, and United Kingdom. Where are most of the Indians at a country level going to? I think we have got the answer. I'll let the timer play out in case there's anyone left. Oh yes, just in the last. The answer is UAE, Dubai. Dubai could be called the Indian city right now. So many Indians there, from working across from their delivery to construction to every aspect of the private sector is dominated by Indian and just generally South Asian migrants. A lot of people picked USA, which is an important corridor, especially from a remittances perspective, but in terms of sheer number, UAE and after that Saudi Arabia and Qatar and the Gulf. I'm telling you, a lot of Indians from the villages in UP, in Bihar, but also Kerala famously, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Rajasthan, Bengal, a lot of people. Their districts, you go to villages in these places, and I've been there. Most of them have been the Gulf or at some point or are there right now. And UAE is extremely prominent. If you've ever been in Dubai, you will know what I'm talking about. So well done for who got that right, which is majority of people. And let's see what the scores are. Swati is really, she's doubling down the lead, guys. Got to catch up with her. Mayur, Adit, Sandria, Kartike, good luck, and for others also. But well done, Swati, for maintaining her lead. Now and Tom here has the highest answer streak. So Tom, keep that up. Next question. The size of the Indian immigrant population abroad. So what's the total size? Is it 10 million people, 25 million people, 18 million, 5 million? India is the world's largest sending country. I'll give you a hint. It's the world's largest sending country of migrants in the world. So what's that number? What is that number? 18, 10, 25, 5? All right. Most people picked 25. No. Hopefully we'll get there the way things are going. But it's 18 million. 18 million. About 3 to 4 go to the Gulf. To UAE. About 10, I think around 10 are in the Gulf. So more than half are in the Gulf, and then it's a mix of South Africa, Europe, Western Europe, actually all of Europe really at this point. US, Canada is very important. Australia, Singapore. A lot of these places besides India, Nepal, I said already. So we have a very diverse, we have the world's largest immigrant population, and it's 18 million. So well done for who got that right. Let's see what's going on here with scores. All right, Niharika has really jumped up. Maisha is the highest climber. Anna, Amrita, we've seen some changes in the leaderboard here, but Swati maintains her position, but this is getting tight. So well done for those who got this right, and I'm catching up. Keep that up. 13th question, double the points again, double the points. The most popular interstate migrant corridor. Corridor means source destination. Source state, what is that corridor? The highest number of people going from one state to another. What is that? That's a corridor. Which is it? It's a UP, Maharashtra, UP, Delhi, Bihar, Jharkhand, or Bihar, Delhi. Let's see. This is your interstate migrants, who you thought was most very common, but who are they? They take trains, they take buses. Many of them suffered quite a bit during the crisis. They had to walk back thousands of kilometers. But who's the most prominent in terms of the quantum of people? Oh, people picked UP, Delhi. Well done. That's true. Neighboring states. That is indeed correct. So well done. Majority of people got that right. A lot of people picked UP, Maharashtra. Not a bad. That's actually very close. Number 2, Bihar, Delhi is a very common one too, right up there. Bihar, Jharkhand, migration maybe not as prominent as some of the other ones, but definitely that also is a common sort of corridor. usually what we see in migration is distance does matter. Like if you're a really poor person, you can't go far. So sometimes you go to a neighboring state, most likely. So UP being, the most populous state, and a lot of poor people, unfortunately, sends very poor migrants actually to Delhi, but slightly wealthier person who can afford a ticket go to Maharashtra. So that's where a lot of the distinctions come from. But well done for who got this right. Sorry for the jump, but the percentage of short-term rural migrants in India as per the 64th round of National Sample Survey is it 5.6% of migrants who are short-term rural migrants, or is it 11.7%, 17.1%, or 1.7%? What percentage are short-term? That means they're less than 6 months. Rural, they're from rural areas and are going to urban areas or within rural areas. But the point is the source of rural areas are short. What percentage? According to the National Sample Survey, which is a very important survey, and this is where a lot of our data for migration comes from. The right answer was 1.7%. This is the percentage short-term rural. This is what we call seasonal migrants. Tough one, I know, if you're not seeing the data, but it's interesting to see a lot of people thought 17.1% or 11.7%. That is a lot more prominent than it actually is. According to, so of course, this is a slightly outdated 2007 data, but nonetheless, important data point, important kind of migration, still very prominent in the Indian landscape, but it's only 1.7% of all migrants. So let's see. Anna, oh wow, Anna, well done. You really jumped up because of the streak you're on. Niharika, number 2, she's at very close, not too far away. We still have a few questions left. Ritesh, Pranjal, Amrita, well done, well done. Anna, well done. You've really, Swati has been displaced for now. All right, next question. Double the points. We're trying to catch up. As of 2020, the largest number of refugees in India from this country. This is in total, not by 2020. In general, right now, India is hosting the largest number of refugees from which country? Is it Sri Lanka? Is it Myanmar? Is it China? Is it Afghanistan? This is not 2020. This is as of 2020. Right now, where do majority of my refugees in India come from? Sri Lanka, Myanmar, China, Afghanistan. Answer is Sri Lanka. Yeah, today India is hosting the largest number of refugees from Sri Lanka, largely in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, largely Tamil Nadu. These are obviously the Tamil migrants from North Sri Lanka who came during the war from Sri Lanka. A lot of people pick Myanmar, the Rohingyas, I'm guessing, not that large actually, not that large. A lot more Tamil migrants from Sri Lanka. We have China, interesting, but China, very few people from China nowadays. And Afghanistan was picked because it's in the news. There are a lot of Afghani refugees, and we expect some more to come, but nothing compared to the quantum which we saw from Sri Lanka. And in general, India has become less, the refugee population, much like the immigrant population, has fallen quite a bit down in India. We're not as prominent a host because refugees have a lot more options than they did perhaps 30, 40 years ago because of UNHCR and other sort of initiatives. Okay, let's see the scoreboard on this front. Okay, Tom's catching up. Vibhuti, Niharika, Ritesh, but Anna is really doubling down there. She's maintaining a lead. Last question. It can still change and things are still up for grab. All right, last question. The top reason for migration within India is business, education, marriage, work. What is it? Why are people migrating? Right? This is according to the census. Why do people migrate the most? Why are they migrating? It's an important question, actually, to understand why people migrate. Sometimes there are more than one reason, but the census as a data point asked this question and we got a very surprising answer. That's the hint, the surprising answer. And the answer is marriage. The answer is marriage. Work makes sense. You would think people migrate for work. Now, here's the thing. The census, the way they asked this question, a lot of women obviously move from their parents, the household they grew up in, and they get married. And usually in India, the way tradition is, they move to the household of their spouse. and that is quite often the reason people give as why they are where they are and why they're migrated. But the tension here is, and to sort of give some, maybe it won't affect your score, but to give you some context for those who voted for work or education, for business, is that people migrate for multiple reasons. It's very rarely one reason, right? It's okay. Yes, in the survey, I gave the answer as marriage, but actually I'm also working. A lot of women work, but it's not recognized as work. It's recognized purely as marriage, right? So work is a great answer. Sometimes people do business. They work in the family business. They move for that reason, but they also married. But somehow in the census, in the surveys, the way they design, the way data is captured, we just say marriage. So while the official database reason is marriage, the actual reality is that it's multiple reasons why people migrate. And it's very difficult to actually establish that, because people themselves don't know why they migrated in the first place. And if home is so abstractly defined, why they move is even more abstract. So, well, that might not win you the game, unfortunately, but hopefully that gives you a sense of how migration works. And you can learn a lot of this in the course. I talk about this, the frameworks to think about this. All right, who's the podium? Let's see. Ritesh Kumar, third, well done, 8,635 points. Niharika, 8856, and number one, the winner is Anna Dominic, well done. All three of you get that book, the lovely book by Chinmay Tumbe, Migration, India Moving, A History of Migration in India. Please enjoy that book. Well done on the survey. There's some tricky questions there. And with that, we are done with the quiz. I'll quickly just talk about the course. Please, the course will really help you think through data journalism around migration. It will give you a lot of ideas to build upon from the quiz questions you saw, a lot of frameworks to think about migration. It will equip you to tackle any kind of migration story, any kind of migration concept, whether it's leaving India, within India, from India. And the link for the course will be, I think, has been shared or will be shared. And right on. So congratulations to those who are on the podium, and well done to everyone for participating. I hope you know something a bit more about migration. And right, I'll stop sharing here. Meenal, please, how do I proceed?
Thank you so much, Varun, for joining us today. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for the quiz today. I hope you learned a lot. And please do register for the course, because this is a really interesting course. And I assure you, because I've taken the course, that it will be worth your time. Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
The book is for everyone in the top 3. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.